live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, and there'll be recordings there as well. And I have other videos there too, so you can actually go there and see other things. And I'm clicking the go live on YouTube now, actually. So there we go. So now we're live across all these different platforms. We have different types of streams that we're doing on a regular basis, including technical deep dives like this, where we'll be going through the HubSpot tool set and talking about lead scoring. And we'll be talking about lead scoring in general, but then we're going to apply it more deeply into the HubSpot tool set today. This is part 2 of a series of videos that we've done. So we've already done 1 video on lead scoring, and then we've actually done about 3 or 4 different videos on on life cycle stages, right? So these deep dives are going to be, we're going to get really deep into the surface of things and look at how we can set these things up to follow best practices and get the value out of your lead generation and customer acquisition activities. So that's what we have in store, folks. What we'll basically start with is a bit of a foundation building, which we covered a lot in part 1, but don't worry if you didn't see part 1. It's not a big deal. We'll do the greatest hits of it. In fact, I'll probably pull up a video of what we covered during part 1. But what we're going to do now, so we'll recap part 1, then we'll look at getting more hands-on into part 2. We're going to look at actually building out a lead scoring system. And there's a couple of different lead scoring options and possibilities that we have within the HubSpot platform. So we'll look at how we can set it up with the different options that we have and different best practices. And then we'll wrap it up after that. So that's what we have here today. Again, feel free to just let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you have any questions, just feel free to put that into the chat. We are monitoring all the different channels that we are on at right now. So let's get started here and we'll dive into our work. So first, let's just recap what we talked about last time. And to do that, I'm going to pull up actually our YouTube channel. Media Garcia has a YouTube channel. I'm going to throw the link in chat. Please give it a follow and subscribe. That way you can get more information about what or you can be alerted to more videos and the things that we're creating here. So we'll throw that in the chat here. Boom, 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 boom. And so you can see when you go to the page, and here, let's get a screen share going here. What is this going to do? That's going to give me a lot of me's. Cool. All right, so here we are, folks. This is our YouTube page. As you can see, we're building up a library of content. There's different types of content. So just to give you a heads up, first, there's all these different live streams that we're doing. There's different types of live streams. So again, there's the deep dives that we're doing usually during the day. They're businessy deep dives. I did a stream yesterday that was just like me working throughout the day, so you can actually join and watch my daily creative and artistic work process as I consult with companies on how to use these different digital tools for their lead generation and customer acquisition activities. And so that was our office hours. So let's take a quick peeky at that one. So this is me. I was sitting, now I'm standing, and we use tools like ChatGPT. Here, let's take a listen to. I wonder if we can actually hear. Just a moment. We were using ChatGPT and some AI tools to read off some results here in this example.
Suckers trying to get their hands on it. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it. Step.
All right. So yeah, that was an example of using ChatGPT. The audio probably didn't come in super loud, but we're using a lot of different AI. I was setting up different streams. I attended some webinars. We broadcasted the webinars. I added some of my thoughts and feedback on it. Like yesterday, we attended this LinkedIn for Video webinar, which was really amazing. Had hundreds of people on the call. And then there was also this other webinar around financials, and how to read different financial statements and your cash flow, your profit loss, your balance sheet, and different things to look at there. So we got those kinds of streams, which are just like our office hour streams. We also are gaming, right? So at times we're doing games. I'm totally sucked into this Marvel Rivals game. So if you're a superhero fan, you might like to tune into the evening streams where we're streaming evening action, when we're actually streaming with other streamers as well and business owners, and we're talking, having good conversations and building community in this space. Now, sometimes I'm actually gaming and also using AI at the same time. That would be what is happening with some of our streams. Here, like this TCG card shop simulator game, here's a really great example of how we've been using AI inside of gaming, where this is like a business we're running, and you can see I've been using ChatGPT, and I've been tracking our results and our revenue to see our performance in game. And from that, we're developing, in this example, we're developing different projections on where we're going to end up, or how long it's going to take for us to become $1 million business, right? $1 million cash on hand. So here's another example of me just kind of running through, playing the game, and then pausing, taking a pause at certain points of the game to collect data, collect results. We put that in the spreadsheets. We pump all that information to AI and GPT. We give it lots of prompts, and we're building best practices. And you can see here I'm asking the questions about, will our revenue acceleration increase if we do this or that? And GPT is given different types of responses, and so we're having a lot of fun on the stream there. So if you're a person who is wants to be on the cutting edge of technology and using tools like AI, ChatGPT, or any CRMs, marketing automation, sales enablement tools, then you're in the right spot. We're starting with these live streams, and we'll keep creating these live streams as they are right now, but the long-term vision here is to actually create more like master class type content. So you're a real one if you're here today, because you're going to get the live stream, and it's kind of like it's a stream of conscious dump. I don't like heavily rehearse these things. I'm coming on live knowing that we're going to dig into a topic, much like how I go into a consulting meeting with someone, right? If I was consulting with one of our clients and I said, hey, let's talk about your lead scoring, I'm treating these streams much like that. And so they're not like, our super polished delivery, but we're going to be doing that with our master class videos, which I'll have more information on that. But if you want to know when that's going to be coming out, just again, like, share, subscribe to our content, and then we'll be sure to announce it to our followers as we go. And then if you want to know where you can get more information, you can go to mediagarcia.com/stream. This will have more information. So this is particularly if you're like on the HubSpot platform and system, and if you're, let me get this link into our chats. Go there and you can actually get these assessments that we're doing for yourself. So you can go ahead and you're going to see me set up lead scoring, and some of the prior videos you'll see that I've gone through life cycle stages. And let's get my background audio a little bit lower. So you've seen these things happening, right? And you might be saying, well, I can either try to do this myself, or let's have Media Garcia do it, right? And we're here. So anything you see that on screen that you're wanting more information on, or would like something for yourself around that, then please go to the website, and there's a very simple form, just an email to fill out, and we'll follow up with you to make sure that you can get the value out of your investments and your tool sets. All right, folks. So I think that was a good intro into all the the historical streams and things that we've been doing. Just gonna modify our background music a little bit more. Okay, I did say we'll go into specifically actually the foundation, the first one. So let's actually pull that one back up here just a second here. So I'm gonna pull up our YouTube channel and find our, which means I have to get out of studio and go to YouTube instead. All right, folks, so let's find our first lead scoring video, and then we'll cover the greatest hits from it. All right, so here's our first one. We talked about this for 2.5 hours, and we did a variety of things, but let's go full screen and just kind of pop through this. I'll probably be skipping through quite a bit of it, so don't worry, we're not going to recap all of it. Oh yeah, we introduced growth gems. All right, so we we started off by defining what lead scoring is, and to do that, we did a simple search around lead scoring on Google, and we pulled up a lot of different resources, including like Salesforce, Oracle. There was like different marketing tools. I'm sure they'll pop up as I scroll through these. But one thing was really clear is that there's not necessarily like a singular definition to what lead scoring is. What is consistent through all the different examples that we did find is that lead scoring is, well, one, it's a score, right? It's a numerical score. So that has probably that its simplest definition. It's a score, and the score is based on whatever your goals are. So your goals might be to to mark a lead as qualified at some point, so that way you can give that lead to your sales team, or a marketing qualified lead to your sales team, right? And so a lot of companies will use lead scoring to set up a scoring system so that when they do so many things, like maybe they have the right properties, maybe they have the right interactions or behaviors on the website, or maybe they belong to the company with the types of firmographics and things that you want. They like to belong in the right industry. They have the right revenue. They have the right employee size. They use the right technology. Maybe it's a person with the right title. Maybe it's a person who lives in an appropriate country, or maybe it's based off behaviors or engagement, which could be like they went to your website, they filled out a form, they visited so many pages, a pricing page, key pages, downloaded premium content, on and on and on and on. There's like an infinite amount of ways that we could potentially set up a lead scoring system. Here's one from Wikipedia. This one says it ranks prospects, right? So it does, right? Because once you have a score, well, now you can compare your score to other leads, contacts, etc. It doesn't have to be about MQL generation, though. You could have a score for anything. So you could have a score for when does someone become an MQL, so I give it to my sales team. You could also have a score for your customers and have it be based on the kind of engagement that you have. This is very common for SaaS companies that are looking to segment lists of who are contacts that are highly engaged in our tool set, who are contacts that are not highly engaged within our SaaS platform, and be able to segment those lists and be able to do different types of campaigns and outreach, and from those lists and from people belonging into that. So that's the definition from Wikipedia. Let's see real quick. I'm just gonna bump a couple more. Here's one from Salesforce. So they said lead grading are two commonly used techniques to qualify leads. That is, to determine if a lead is worth passing on for your marketing and sales team. Okay, so another definition, right? So a lead comes in from your inbound efforts, and then your marketing team essentially has a scoring system set up, or your sales team, or they mutually come up with a definition on what is a good lead and what it needs to be in place in order for that lead to get passed on to the appropriate next place. And then we went to HubSpot and got its definition of lead scoring, and it had this really nice video with the like the pinball animations. And okay, so what does HubSpot say about lead scoring? Lead scoring is a process of assigning values, often in the form of numerical points, to each lead to evaluate the likelihood of them becoming a customer. Okay, so again, at the end of the day, the lead scoring all just kind of comes down to what is your goal. At the end of the day, is do you want to rank leads? Do you want to prioritize leads? Do you want to prevent leads from being sent to your sales team until they meet a certain criteria? Or do you want to use scoring for your customers or for other situations, right? So there's no like one singular thing. It really does depend on what your goals are. And oftentimes the lead scoring models are just based on different explicit or implicit models. We also looked at different templates, and we saw Devin from HubSpot give a really nice talk about lead scoring as well. So, we dug into community resources to see, to build up our knowledge and also to understand if there's any best practices around this. And this shows Devin going through and scoring, the HubSpot lead scoring in different ways. I think these stats were really interesting stats, that HubSpot had shared around where do, highest quality leads come from. So you could use information like this to reverse engineer a scoring system that says, hey, you know what, like, who is my most ideal customer? Who are the customers that I make the most money from? I love doing business with, they love doing business with me, and we both get an ROI, right? Reverse engineer those things, right? And build a scoring system around that so you get more customers that you love, and then you avoid the customers that you don't love as much, right? And so that is, again, another practice with lead scoring. HubSpot has this really nice lead scoring worksheet. We could probably put that into the chat here. Let's see. HubSpot. I think I have this somewhere in my drive. A copy of it, at least. Let's see what is in here. Be one 1 second, folks. Yeah, okay, so cool. We could do this one. I'll share this one out with anyone with the link. Copy link, and let's go ahead and let's throw it into all the chats. Lead scoring template. And last but not least, YouTube. One to do for me. I'll definitely want to update this, and maybe for future streams we'll have our own branded version at Media Garcia that we're sharing. But hey, the HubSpot one is a fantastic starting point. It's where I've started a lot of times. So I'm always using HubSpot templates to guide our work. Absolutely. All right, let's get back into this and recapper part one. This just shows that there's different scoring systems that we can have. There's different tabs for explicit data, implicit data, and eventually we ran through a couple of examples where we said, okay, we created some personas, and we said, oh, here's a chief marketing officer at a SaaS company, and they're highly engaged on your website. What's their score? And then we're like, oh, they have a perfect score, right? And then we made another persona that was like a marketing analyst at an automotive company, and it was like an iffy score, right? It's kind of a mid-range score. And then, at the end of the day, you end up with this normalized score where you'll see down here it says like 33%, right? So this lead that we had based on the scoring system and mock data that we came up with, we said this person may be unsubscribed and didn't really fill out forms, just maybe filled out like one contact, like a landing page form, right? And so we created different things for that. From time to time, we'll be showing what our growth gems are. Oh, another shout out here for the Make My Persona 2 tool with HubSpot. Let's get that link in chat too. 1 second. So if you are getting into lead scoring, well, you're going to be scoring leads based off personas, right? So a nice prerequisite to have before you get into all this lead scoring is to make sure you have your personas in place. Because if you don't have your personas in place, then how are you going to, you're going to be like guessing things in terms of your scoring, like who they are demographically or where they're working firmographically. And it just makes life easier when you have these personas, and your agencies are going to love you when you say, hey, I have these personas for you, right? And trust me, it makes life easier because we can look at these personas and say, oh, this is a chief marketing officer at a mid-cap company, SaaS company, and they make $100 million in revenue. And you might say, yeah, that is a super ideal lead. Here's what the tool looks like, by the way. In fact, it's in the video. I'll just show the video. So you can go through and basically click, who you want to create. We keep showing the growth gem. We even use ChatGPT in this course or during this last stream to help us develop the persona. So if you're the kind who gets stuck on stuff, or you don't know exactly the right words to say, writer's block, or just too nervous to make a decision on something and put it into paper, well, let ChatGPT be your help, right? And we used it to come up with a name and even respond to some of these prompts that it provided. And in the end, you end up with a buyer persona template that looks like this. You can download it, you can print it, you can put it up on your wall, on your fridge, right? And now you know who you're targeting, like this one, which we named Data-Driven Dana, Chief Marketing Officer, in her 40s with at least with a bachelor's degree. She's connected with these different social networks. She's in these technologies. Her organization's this large, right? Here's what they needed to do their job, how they like to communicate, all these different things. And from this, right, we can start to make assumptions around how we can build a lead scoring model to elevate Data-Driven Dana as like our most ideal customer. All right. What else did we do? So we did a little bit more ChatGPT here. Do some more examples. I think we tweaked our scoring system too, and GPT helped us with that as well. And so we used a lot of AI actually to come up with different segments and examples. And then we went to the community. So, you know, there's tons of community resources that HubSpot has, and even just, you know, like the HubSpot knowledge base is really great. The HubSpot community forums are also really great, and I will give you links to all that too. So just 1 second while we do that. Yeah, it's all on their help center. So if you go to help.hubspot.com, it looks like this. And from here, the you know, there's the knowledge base. So this is going to have all the, you know, knowledge items that HubSpot is provided. So for example, I can just type in lead scoring, and now we get information about understanding the lead scoring tool, finding fit scores, determining likelihood, right? With predictive lead scoring, which we're not going to get into predictive lead scoring quite yet. That's going to be part 3, but we will show the nuts and bolts of how to set up the lead scoring tool in HubSpot today. And then not only do you have the knowledge base, but you also have the community. So wonderful community that HubSpot has. There's a tremendous amount of information that groups, AMAs, events, you know, you can see a lot of that here. And then there's also the, I don't know, is that where you get to the forums? I know there's where are the HubSpot forums at? Let's see, HubSpot community forums. The HubSpot forums here are, where'd you guys go? Maybe they're just in here. Well, anyways, if we just did a search for like HubSpot lead scoring here, naturally there's going to be blogs, which the blogs are great. Here's some other videos, of course. Here's a community page, actually, that I'm trying to find best practices to set up lead scoring. So we did this on the stream as well, where we were going through and looking at what does the community say about lead scoring? What are the challenges that the community is finding with lead scoring? What best practices are they doing? And looking at all the various resources that they have there too. So this was another piece of things that we do that we did in part 1. So don't worry, we're not going to dig into all the forums again today. That's what part 1's for. And then let's see, I think that might have been it, but let's just double check and scan through. Yep, that was it. Okay, so that was, you know, lead scoring at a very that we did during part 1. So now we're going to dig into part 2 and kind of pick up off where we left in part 1 and also continue a little bit more into it. So let's actually clean up my screen a little bit because we got a lot of windows going on now that I've shown you my whole window. Let's do that. All right, and we're just gonna get one of our browsers open here. A bit bigger. All right, and I need to become smaller. Let's see. Yeah, that's good for now. All right, folks, so we got our template up here. I believe this was the one that we were working through. Let me double check. Actually worked on a different one. Let's see. Here, I'll pull this one in. Got a couple of different examples. So here's one of our lead scoring sheets that we were working on, and this has different criteria. We're going to go ahead and launch into one of our sandbox accounts that we have at Media Garcia and show how we can actually set up lead scoring and some different things to potentially consider as we do that. There's actually 2 different ways to do lead scoring. The kind of a more old school way, it was to set up lead scoring as a property within the contacts. And so I'm going to run through that first, and then we're going to show you another way that we can do lead scoring. And then we'll talk about the differences between the 2. So to set up lead scoring, Super simple. We just go into our settings, which is the gear icon in HubSpot, and then we'll go down to properties, left-hand side of the screen, and then we'll you can do actually scoring on any object. So it could be a contact scoring, could be company scoring. Scoring is just a property, that you can add. So you can actually go on to any object that you have within the HubSpot system. So, but there also there's going to be an out-of-the-box scoring that will just be there by default. Usually it's not built or doesn't really have anything in there, but it will be called HubSpot score, right? So this is the out-of-the-box one that you have there. If you don't have a score property there, don't worry, we can get you one, right? All you'd have to do is click on this create property, and then you give it a label, right? So you'd say, let's just call it super awesome scoring, and we'll put it on the contact level, and then we'll say that this, why can't I click create? Oops, contact. Yes, sandbox. All right, well, something's going on with my sandbox environment. Oh, here it is, field type. Okay. And then on this field type tab here with the little exclamation mark, we'll click score, right? And so now we have these different scoring criteria that we can build off on the right-hand side. As you can see, there's negative scoring and there's positive scoring. I'll move my face. Okay. And this is where we can start building out a criteria. So we can say, usually you're going to build out generally a lot of positive scoring elements, but you'll also want to build out your worksheet right before getting to this point. So for example, like this worksheet, maybe we want to build out a scoring based off job titles, right? And in our first stream, in our first part, we talked about job titles being like our CMO would be like all the points, and then the next one was going to be like a marketing analyst, which would be like still kind of okay, but maybe not all the points. And then we had a I forget what it was, but we have some role, maybe a job title where you definitely wouldn't want it, like an intern, right? If someone comes in and they're like, I'm an intern, right? You might say negative points for a job title for an intern, or maybe just don't award any points. There's different approaches that you can have for that as well. So let's come up with some examples that we'll want to do in terms of our lead scoring system here. So if we want to say, like, if someone's a chief marketing officer or CMO, kind of in that space, right? Those would be the types of titles that we would say, yeah, those are going to be great scoring. We would click on this add criteria. Once we do that, it pops up with a couple of different filter types. From here, we can say, I want to filter on a contact property, and I'm going to use the job title score. And if I can say if the job title contains any of, and this is where you'd start typing your different options. So you'd want to put in like stuff like CMO. Maybe you type it out, chief marketing officer. Note that it does need to be exact. Like, so even if there's like, if some company is really trendy and they're not using chief marketing officer, but they're using super awesome marketing officer, then that's, it's not going to pick it up unless you modify your criteria, of course. So just know that, especially as you use like titles, where a lot of titles can be different, know that it might not always be solid, so just keep that in mind. We'll call that a growth gem, folks. So where's our growth gem? Give me a growth gem. Ooh, yeah, there it is. That's a growth gem. So be thoughtful around what titles, what properties, what values you want to use, because either are going to get found or they aren't going to found. It's based specifically on how you set up those specific properties, so keep that in mind. All right. And do chief marketing officers ever get called at anything else? I don't know. Let's ask ChatGPT. That's probably a good question for GPT, right, folks? Let's ask. Hello, Mr. ChatGPT. I want you to act as a lead scoring expert on my team, and I'm trying to build a lead scoring system, and I'd like to give the most points to chief marketing officers, but a lot of times they have different titles. So could you provide me a short list of titles that a chief marketing officer might use? I like how my dictation, Mr. ChatGPT. Okay. All right. So here we go, folks. Right. So, there's VP of marketing, there's head of marketing, director of marketing, marketing director, chief growth officer, chief brand officer. Right. So as you can see, right, it's going to become a little bit convoluted, especially I asked for just a short list and it gave 15. So maybe we'll just go with the first 5, right? And it's, for example, you got like VP of marketing. But again, it would need to be exactly VP of marketing if I'm using the is equal to thing. You could do stuff like contains marketing, but the problem with doing things like contains is you might get a chief marketing, or you might have someone who's chief marketing officer as their title, and you might have someone who's like marketing analyst as their title, and you might not want to actually treat them the same, right? So so there's a couple different options here. You could do things by like department, where like if the title say marketing, you could say that. And then you could also do another score for things like chief, VP, right? Give more points for that. Again, it's pretty dynamic, so there's a lot of different ways to go around it. But let's just copy for now. We'll just copy a few of these different things in here. Great. So now we have a score that says that the job titles, any of these like high value marketing contacts that we're after, data-driven data, right, on the chief marketing officer at a mid-cap SaaS company. This is now the start of that. So what else did we have when we were looking at it? I think we had, let's look at our sheet. So let's do industry. So if we wanted to, focus on like kind of SaaS, software, tech industries, then we could add that as another criteria, another positive criteria here. And oh, I forgot to set points. So the other key thing around the lead scoring is that you're gonna eventually come up with a scoring model. In part 1, we did a lot of stuff around the scoring model, so I'm not gonna go into too much length about it. But know that in this spreadsheet that we are working from, you can see that there's these 2 different tabs, and one of them is different explicit data and the max score, and then there's implicit data, max score. So that's like the maximum score that someone could have for that. And so you would want your most ideal person to have that max score, that where you get all the value, of course, right? But then you might have different contacts and things that don't get the max score, and you would maybe be partial score, right? So you might say job title, you can get a max of 25 points if you're a CMO, but if you're a marketing analyst, maybe get 10 points. And if you're if you're anything else, you get 0. And if you're an intern, you get -10, right? Let's just build that out for now, and we'll show you what that's all about. So here's our CMO. We're going to say you get 25 points if you do that. And then we would set up similar things to say, okay, if your job title is, let's just say marketing analyst. And why don't we ask ChatGPT for some examples here? Okay, great. Now I want to do 2 more job title sets of scores. First is going to be someone who's like a marketing analyst. This is someone who isn't as great of a fit as like a chief marketing officer, but it's still good because they're on the marketing team and they're connected with the marketing efforts. So can you provide a list, no more than 5, of job titles that might be someone who is a marketing analyst? And then also we want to make a negative scoring criteria for job titles, and we want to like score down, like say like students and interns that are maybe seeking just information or knowledge, right, from our marketing campaign. So it suggests 5 titles that we would actually decrease a job title score from. Boom, shakalaka. All right, let's see what we got here. And here's the results. Marketing analyst, digital marketing specialist. In fact, why don't we get our
Marketing analyst level roles moderate fit. Score lower than
10,000, everyone.
CMOs, but still positive. Marketing analyst, digital marketing specialist, SEO analyst, marketing coordinator, growth marketing analyst. Negative scoring title score down. Likely not decision makers or buyers. Marketing intern, student, entry level marketing associate, graduate research assistant, freelance content writer unless they're clearly a marketing consultant or strategist. This setup helps prioritize real decision makers while still keeping analysts in the mix and filtering out people who aren't likely to convert. Do you want me to help assign weightings to these categories?
No, I definitely don't need any help with assigning the ratings. That is okay, Snoop. But thank you for that. So let's get these titles in here. Well, I think we'll probably have to just copy them one at a time here. So we already got marketing analyst. Let's get digital marketing specialist. We'll throw that one in there. SEO analyst. Yeah, let's throw that in there. Marketing coordinator. Boom. It's in there. And growth marketing analyst. It's in there. And like we mentioned before, it might not be the total points, like 25. So let's just give it, we'll give it 10 points, right? All right, so now we have we got to click apply. So now we have 2 different job scoring pieces set up, one for our ideal, excuse me, one for our ideal, and then one for the marketing analysis. Now let's do another one, add criteria, boom, boom. And then for this one, we're gonna go job title, and let's copy those ones that will assign a negative value to. So we're gonna go like this, marketing intern, student. Let's get that one in here. But I'm just gonna do marketing associate. I'm not gonna do the whole thing like entry level, because no one says entry level on their title. That's not real. Okay, research assistant. I'm trying to copy you. All right, we'll just do graduate research. Sure. All right, whatever. And then freelance. Let's do freelancer as the final one. I'm not gonna do that whole again because it needs to match it completely, at least the way that I'm setting it up here. So. Oh, you know what? And this needs to be a negative criteria. So I've started adding this under the positive criteria column. I'm going to delete it. We actually want to set this up as a negative criteria, which is going to be on the right-hand side. And so if I want to say that these job titles actually result in a negative score, we'll set it up over there. So again, marketing, intern. Let's just add intern, marketing, associate, researcher, freelancer, right? All those not good titles for us, right? We're gonna give those a minus, maybe we'll say minus 25, right? And again, the numbers that you assign are going to be based on the base them on the worksheet that you do, right? And ideally, it's normalized for a 100-point scale. We talked about this in part 1, so I'm not going to go into it, but there's ways to make it normalized for a 100-point scale, so that way it's always 0 to 100 scale and relatively easy to gauge what the score ought to be. So here we go, folks. We've set up 2 positive lead scoring models, 1 negative one based on the job title. Let's go ahead and just do one more. So let's pick I think we're going to do industry, which is going to be a company property, right? So I'm going to click add criteria, and I'm going to now click on company property, and then we'll use industry. And then there's a drop-down list for industry. Let's see, we got computer software, and we might just say, computer software and information tech services are most ideal, right? And if we get those, let's go ahead and give you a nice, cool 25 points on that one. So we got 25 there. And let's do kind of a secondary industry because, again, typically companies are going to have like their primary industry focuses, and they have the secondary industries, which for us is going to be automotive. So we'll do an automotive and an industrial automotive. I'm not even sure what industrial automotive is. Must be like tractors, like these. You John Deere and you're selling a tractor, you're probably industrial automation. Well, it's automation, not automotive. Okay, let's just do automotive. I misread that. Okay, so now we got our industry as any of automotive, and again, if that's kind of secondary to us, I might give it a score of 10. All right, and then let's put some negative industries in here. So we'll go to our negative column, click company again, search for industry, bada bing, bada boom, and then we'll do which one is like, let's do retail. So it's like, nope, never want to do retail. That's a negative score. And maybe even for this, if it was like a heck no, we might give it like a really high negative score, right? So that way it suppresses the score down for us significantly. And there you have it. Now we have a couple of lead scorers, one for the job titles, one for the industry. And so what, right? So cool. You're showing me that we can set this stuff up, and I could spend all day doing these things, but what's the value? Well, let me show where this all starts to show up and how this can make a difference. And to do that, let's go actually to our contacts within HubSpot, and we'll just pull up an example contact. Again, this is all mock data, so don't worry. Don't sell this list to anyone. These emails aren't going to work, I promise you. And then here's Daniel Schultz, customer 13, and at MediaGarcia.com, right? So to see the scoring, I'm going to actually go and look at all the properties first, because we need to have values for job title and for industry. So for example, Daniel Schultz doesn't have job title, so I'm going to put CMO in. We're going to pretend that Daniel Schultz is a data-driven Dana, and let's go. And then we also need to track an industry. which is related to the company. So first of all, Daniel doesn't have a company related to it. So let's go ahead and click add one. Let's create a new company here. And let's just do, if we need to do a tech one, let's just pretend that Daniel Schultz is actually at Google. And and then actually, you know what? Now we're gonna go back to Google record, and you can see that the industry is populated as computer software, right? So our contact Daniel Schultz should get the most points on his lead scoring because he's got the CMO job title, and he belongs to a company that's within the computer software industry, which those are the two things we had. Now, it might not update it right away. It is a process that takes, you know, a little bit of time behind the scenes, and so you can see, like, right now there is no score, but you know, you give HubSpot a little bit of time. We'll come back to it and refresh it. Let's go ahead and update one more, and then we'll show how these scores start to show up, and then what we can even use these scores for. So let's pull up Shannon. Let's pretend Shannon is a marketing analyst at an automotive company. So it's going to be more like mid-range score, right? So again, we're going to go into their properties, and this is where like having the right data. I'm going to get into a growth gem right now. This is where like having the right data is going to be really important to your system, and using tools, particularly like data enrichment tools. There's HubSpot Breeze. There's a lot of other enrichment tools as well that can get you the right data that you need within your system. All right, hold on. I'm going to move myself too because I'm starting to cover the screen a little bit. Let's see. We got more real estate to use too. All right, how about that, guys? Does that look good? All right, and all right, I'll have to scroll to show where we're at. Okay, so we have Shannon Dixon. What's Shannon's title? Marketing analyst. Boom. All right, now we need to get Shannon associated to a company, and we're going to do an automotive company. So let's do Volvo. Industry, automotive. This time I actually had to specify the industry. That's all right. There's Volvo, and while we're at it, let's make a bad contact too. So here's Lisa Hughes. You're going to be our bad example. Bad. But not morally bad, just not a good score. Okay, so here's job title. Lisa's an intern, and she's going to your site and downloading everything because she wants to get hired by us, and is not an ideal customer because Lisa's a student, right? So, all right, companies. What was the negative industry that we picked? Retail, right? Okay, so let's go. No, let's go. Let's go Best Buy. They should show up as retail, right? Oh, gonna create a new one. And they say consumer electronics. I'm just gonna change it to retail. I know they truly are consumer electronics, but we didn't set up the score that way. I could go back in the score and add consumer electronics and have that be part of the negative scoring system for retail. That's fine, but I'm just not gonna. For the sakeness of time, we're just not gonna do that. So now we have our 3 contacts that we want to have scored, and let's go back to our contact screen and take a peek-sees and see what we got. All right, I'm gonna open them all up in new tabs actually, and starting with Daniel Schultz, who is our persona, that data-driven Dana. If we go here and we go view all properties, we could customize the screen so score would be on the screen. Again, I'm not going to run into that. And let's see here. Well, it doesn't look like the scoring's working. I wonder if maybe it's a sandbox thing. Let me double check our properties. Oh, you know what? We didn't create it, did it? It's super awesome scoring. So I forgot to. Yeah, that's a growth gem. Let's bring it off and bring it up. Make sure you click create after you make your lead scoring. You have to click create in order for the scoring system to work. So now, let's see. Did that show up? Because I called it super awesome scoring. There it is. Okay, so we have super awesome scoring now. It's here. Okay, so that's why the score wasn't showing, and it wasn't showing here. Let's refresh this and see if super awesome scoring shows up. There it is. Okay, so to just jar the scoring a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and just assign these records to myself so they get updated. And the scoring system hopefully will just kind of kick in after that. All right, one other thing I wanted to do as well was to add our super awesome scoring system as a column here on our screen. So I'll go here, search for super awesome scoring, apply it, and now we can see the score. Let's see here. It should have been there. Where'd it go? Must have not added it. Let me try it again. Check. It's down here, and in fact, I'm going to reposition it, and I want to see it first, like that. Click apply. And let's refresh. Where is my super awesome scoring? Yeah, it's not here. It's not saving it. Let's try it one more time. Apply. There it is. Okay. So I just had to do it a couple times. I don't know why. But now it's here. And so you can see that our Daniel Schultz has the super awesome scoring of 50, right? Because they're, again, our ideal customer and the CMO at a computer software company, right? And then we have Shannon here who got the score 20, just as we planned it out, right? Someone who's maybe not as great as our data-driven data persona, but someone who is still in the marketing space, still kind of in a secondary industry that's important to us. And now we have a super awesome score for that. And then you can see that Lisa's got the -75 because Lisa's an intern and she's just on the website trying to find information, maybe trying to find a job, and engaged with a bunch of stuff, right? So so she's an intern, and also was, like, I think we put in a retail space, right? So so we put a negative score on that. So why? So what? Why does this stuff even matter anyways? Well, again, it kind of comes back to your goal. What do you want to accomplish here? You know, let's get real. Let's get real again with our lead, with our scoring here. And this is it all depends on what you're looking to accomplish, right? So with these examples, you know, we set up an example where we wanted to find, you know, leads that are high quality. And in this particular example, it might be because maybe we're getting so many leads that we need to be able to start to differentiate between who's a high quality lead and who isn't, and be able to give our sales team some priority in terms of who to follow up with, who to engage with, who's showing promise, who's and avoiding the tire kickers and the people who are going to waste time or monopolize your time, right? Because there's a cost opportunity, right, with following up with unfit leads, right? So if your sales team's following up with unfit leads because they don't have a lead scoring system that's preventing them from doing that, well, your sales team's going to get frustrated because they're going to say, marketing's sending me these junk leads and I follow up with them and they never answer their phone and all they do is leave voicemails, and you know, and then they meet with me but they ghost me and blah 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 blah, right? Like, we want to avoid those situations because it, you know, it's doesn't lead to performance, right? It doesn't lead to the results that we ultimately want at the end of the day. And you want to build a scoring system that builds up predictors, right, for that ideal fit customer, right? So you know, based on the scoring that we made here, job title and an industry alone might not be enough. It frankly isn't. It's just scratching the surface in terms of what you could potentially do with lead scoring system. So you would want to go likely much deeper than what I've just demonstrated here. Okay, so that is the basic HubSpot lead scoring system. Now, for our next part 3, we're going to talk about the game plan, right? So let's get our growth gems off. We've already covered our growth gems. What's the game plan from here on out? So this is what we're going to do. We're actually going to be wrapping up our stream here. We've been going for about an hour, and we've done some really good work in showing the foundation and also showing how we can set up lead scoring with the out-of-the-box HubSpot property tool. But what we'll be doing on our next one here, let's go ahead and bring our screen back up. There is another way, a really nice way to create lead scoring within HubSpot, and it's kind of the next level. So you can it'd be interesting actually. Let me do a start from scratch here on this and just kind of show what kind of options we have here. So let's go full screen. Let's see. Oh, that's not the right one. Sorry for the rigmarole there. Let's see. I'll just maybe take my camera off for now. Okay, so You can do like different types of score systems, including contact engagement score, contact fixed score, contact combined score, right? So that way you're looking at, are people engaging, and then how good of a fit they are, and then you can combine that into one like true awesome score, right? And you can build this type of score model for contacts, for companies, and this is going to help you build a score and also help you understand like who to nurture, right? And who to route leads to. And then from that you can kind of iterate and improve. So let's just run through an example here on this contact engagement score, and we'll click create. And with this, there'll be different event groups. So how this works is that there are different groupings, and we'll add different event criteria, and eventually we'll have different groups that lead to typically a score, and we can set the score limit. Again, I love limiting scores to like 100 points across the board and normalizing your score for 100, so that way it's just easy to understand and easy to work. You can see there's also some decaying that is baked into this tool as well, where you can decrease scores by a certain percentage over a certain time. Super helpful if you have certain sales cycles that you would expect people to move through the different life stages of your deals or life cycle stages as well. So you can add multiple groups, multiple criterias with time decay, and also set your group scoring limits. And so with that, you can also specify which contacts you want to score. So maybe you only want to score leads, or maybe you want to score a different score for customers, right? And with this, you're able to specify how you would want to do that as well. And then it asks, you can create a label, and much like we did with the other one. Now this is it's a different way to set up our scoring system. I showed you the old school. This is the new school way. So part 3, we'll go through new school way. So make sure you like, share, subscribe on this, so that way you get notified. And when we do that, it's going to be happening early next week. And then from that, we'll take all the information, and then we'll actually get into predictive scoring as well. I don't know if that'll be in part 3. It might be a part 4, to be honest. But then we'll take all this information, part 1, 2, 3, 4, pull it all together and create a polished masterclass product. So again, if you want to get the abridged version and not have to kind of dig in through all these lives, kind of totally understand, right? Then we'll do that. And also keep, make sure you follow Media Garcia and myself. I'm Louis Garcia on LinkedIn, because I will be regularly sharing shorts and clips from this content, kind of highlighting the key messages and things that are happening inside of lead scoring. But hey, that's what we have for today. We'll also be showing some other third-party tools that can help us with lead scoring. So there's tools that help us specifically with lead scoring, and there's other generative business intelligence tools that we'll be using as well, and demoing those tools. So lots of exciting stuff coming down the pipe. So make sure that you stay tuned, and I appreciate you watching this show and live with me here today, and I wish you a fantastic rest of your day.